People go to the grocery store, they buy their food, they never give it a thought where it comes from, how it gets there, what's happening to the people that are raising it, but the public doesn't know.
Total time that I've raised chickens is probably 14 years.
And it looked like it was a good business to get into it. And once I got into it, it was a big nightmare.
Farmers are initially promised independence. You can be your own boss. This is a way to get a stake in the American dream.
It's a sense of freedom, a sense of pride. The more you put in, the more you should receive. And it is that way, except for in the chicken business.
In the United States, 25,000 farmers produce 50 billion pounds of chicken each year. That's $30 billion worth of meat.
I used to sell 1.3 in 13 houses, 1.3 million pounds of chicken meat every 35 days.
I mean, the major companies like Tyson, they got some pretty nice profit. At some point, some folks say it ought to trickle down. Why doesn't it?
People keep buying more chicken, and the size of the market keeps growing. But just 3% of the chicken raised in the country comes from independent farms. The remaining 97% is produced by farmers who signed contracts with poultry companies.
It's kind of like throwing scraps out the back door to your dogs. You have so much on the plate. The bad thing is there's not enough on the plate for the 9 dogs.
And what you end up with are farmers at the end of a contract life who literally live on the edge of bankruptcy.
The struggle has been very real. It's not good. Nothing about this has been good.
This is a feudal agricultural system, or serfdom. When you said serfs with a mortgage.
Before farmers sign a contract, the companies give them brochures and other materials that are supposed to give an accurate estimate of how much they can expect to earn. All communications from the company are designed to assure the farmers of one thing. If they work hard, they are going to make money.
Well, my name is Clarence Leverett, and I was growing chickens for Marshall Durbin, and it looked like it was a good business to get into it, but once I got into it, it was a big nightmare.
So when you were looking into it, what did they tell you you were going to make?
16 to 21,000 every batch of chickens. That first batch, it was about a $21,000 check. I said, boy, I'm gonna enjoy this. But the second batch might have jumped down to 19. Within a year's time, I was ready at about 12,000 a batch. So what went with all that other 21? They give you the $12,000. What you have left out of it, you can't even feed yourself.
Many chicken farmers wind up stuck on a treadmill of endless debt. They get into debt because they believe in the company's promise of a steady paycheck and a reward for hard work. Once they've decided to invest, they have to get a loan, which is often more than $1 million. Many farmers put everything they have on the line, including their farm and home.
Now, when we build these chicken houses, we take everything that we have or ever will have and put it on the dotted line. I mean, so we go out on the limb, and the company has no risk whatsoever in this.
And so how much time do you have left on your mortgage now?
Do you hear that? She said, when we die. Why? Because they will not pay you enough to pay your bills and raise their chicken.
In the 9 years we've been doing this, I've been paid as much as $30,000 for a flock of chickens and as little as $13,000 for a flock of chickens. So that's quite a stretch. And I need to earn a minimum of $21,000 per flock just to break even.
How many people that live in America dread going to the mailbox to get their check. If you're a chicken grower, this has happened numerous times, and it all kind of boils down to opening that envelope.
You know, these companies have so much power, it's hard for one grower to stand up to them.
It was important for me to do something useful in the society, and producing food was a good thing.
Alton Terry filed suit against his company, Tyson, in 2009. In the suit, he documented several incidents of retaliation. His case eventually wound up in the Court of Appeals. The judge agreed that Alton had been mistreated, but his case was ultimately dismissed because he couldn't show how Tyson's retaliation against him had harmed overall competition in the industry.
A lot of people ask the question, well, what does that mean? You know, you have to prove competitive injury. And I use the analogy, if we're living in North Carolina, you and I are living in the same subdivision, and I get mad at you and I go burn your house down. Okay, well, to prove if you were trying to base your claim on competitive injury, then you would have to prove that me burning your house down affected the price of every house, at least in the whole Southeast and maybe in the United States. You know, we shouldn't have to prove likelihood of competitive injury to say that discrimination is a bad thing. If you discriminate against somebody, that should be something wrong with that, and you shouldn't be able to do it in America, period.
Our federal judges will not stand up to billionaires cheating other people out of the value of their assets. They won't use the federal laws that are already there to protect the people. And to me, that was the most disheartening thing about the whole system. I'll just be quite honest with you on this. When I was going through my case, I knew that I may not win. And I'm one of these kind of people who really, I don't know, I don't have late payments I don't owe people things. I carry my own weight in society and all that. And one of the things that was a backstop, I thought, in my own mind, was that if it really came down to it and I couldn't get justice through the system, that I had a life insurance policy that would pay off all my debts and leave my family without having this type of debt. And yeah, I did try to commit suicide.
I think the biggest thing that's let us down is the government. They're the ones that have really dropped the ball on this. Because once you get to that level, it's politicized. It's a political issue. It has nothing to do with what's right and what's wrong for the growers. It has to do with how much money you're going to give me for my re-election campaign.
We as poultry growers have nobody else to go to. And if we come to you and you don't do your job, where does that leave us?
My philosophy, if not me, then who? If not now, then when?
Do I have personal losses? Absolutely. I'd like to recoup my losses, but more so, I'd like to see this industry change.
I confront them about that stuff. I don't care what they say, and I've done that from day one. And I'm not bragging on myself. I'm just telling you, I think it's what every grower ought to do.
I would tell the whole world, you eating fish, you eating chicken, you eating beef, pig, turkeys. I would tell the consumers, the farming industry done went to it done gone to the devil.
That's what's happening in our industry. And I think that that's not the way we need to feed Americans. I mean, we're really feeding them ethical poison.
It's going to take the village, it's going to take the consumers, it's going to take the farmers, it's going to take the government, the environmentalists, welfare activists, you name it. This is food. You know, it affects us all.